Good Sunday morning to you, Cadre. Hope everybody's doing well. I certainly want to thank, first off, everybody that joined us for the straight shaving workshop. I know it went a little long, but it was our first one, and we'll narrow things down a little bit. But thank you once again for joining. Also, those of you that showed up for the premiere party Zoom call last night, thank you so much for that. And I hope that you get a chance to watch that new group from the Cadre that's singing some songs about members, ballads, as they say. There's another one coming up pretty soon for a specific member, and we'll go into that in more detail down the road. I'm going to be putting up probably next week, putting up some suggestions for the June version of the TSC radio show. More than likely, it'll probably be a monthly thing now because I'm going to be going back to the shop starting next week. So, I don't want to disappear like I did before. Okay, for today's shave, we're going back to France. I had such a good shave yesterday during the Zoom call that I decided to go back to the Thiers-Issard 1884 La Legende with the kind of the feather doomajiggies on the spine, and this is a full hollow. It has been stropped 30 and 60. I do have my sponge, although I do need to get another one. And then I'm actually going to try, I was against this, but I saw KJ do the video and I saw Doug Bear's video on the lathering technique. Now, to me, it seems very much like a modified Marco method, and it seems like it could be messy. And I've got a cabinet over there you can't see, but it's got somewhere in the neighborhoods of 400 to 500 soaps in it. So I don't need to save soap. It's about 5.5 feet tall, and it's got 9 shelves on it, and the shelves are almost 14 inches deep. So that gives you an idea how much soap I have. So anyways, the soap I'm using today, and I've filled the cap, watching both videos. I filled the cap with water, poured the water in the cap, and tightened up the lid. It doesn't seem to be leaking. I shook it a few times, but today I'm using Henry et Victoria La Poire Francaise. It's a kind of a pear to go along with the fruit theme. It's a pear type of almost like a pear cobbler. It's warm. It does have some cinnamon, so I do have to be careful. So that's what we're using for the soap. For the brush, we are going to be using, and that's been soaking for a bit, we're going to be using the Paladin Neptune Clio. This thing is just cool. It's fun. It's got a finest badger knot on it. I don't use balms very often, but I'm hoping, I'm kind of thinking that the cinnamon and the Poire Francaise might irritate me a little bit. So I don't use balms very often, but I'm using, staying with the French theme, with Près de Provence 63. And I have not gotten the aftershave or the EDT for that yet. I hear it's good. And then for the final part, we're going to be doing La Octane EDT. So anyhow, so according to those videos, you fill it with water and you start shaking. And you wait until you don't hear anything anymore. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I have a feeling this is going to be a big hot mess. So we'll go ahead and wet the face a little bit. And we will take the cap off, turn it over. Now I see what KJ was talking about when he said do not put too much in it. Okay. All right, I do see some froth. I don't know how good it'll be. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's the bloom water, I guess, that I'll be using as the water. And this seems a little foamy to me. I don't know. So the brush has been wet. So I guess all I'm going to do is just take that out and start my lather. And I'm not building any soap at all, just grabbing that. So we'll see. It does seem very, very thin. And this is what I would call a tier 1.5 soap. I mean, it's not a premier soap, in my opinion, but a lot of that's because of the scent is definitely a 5 out of 5. So it does build. I mean, it's thin though, and for a straight razor, that's okay. I've taken everything out of the puck. I think I can. So it's building. So I'm going to dip some water. Dip the brush in. To me, it's not bad. It is thin, but it's not building. And like KJ said, I've always been not one that cares too much about how thick the lather is. I just let it happen because I straight shave. But this is still a bit thin. I will probably see how well this works with the worst soaps on the planet, which are Crabtree and Evelyn and Eucharist. To see what that does. I mean, it's a usable lather, I think. And like I said, I'm just using the water from the Bloom that Doug had mentioned in his video. And I had commented that this was kind of meh to me. We'll see how slick it is during the shave. I mean, it's usable. I will agree with KJ, it is usable, but I think for it to work properly, you need to have at least a tier 1 soap. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. But I think you at least need to have a tier 1 soap to make this work well. We'll see how it holds up during the shave, because obviously a straight shave is a little bit longer than a regular shave. You know, I'm probably not going to speed up the video just to see how it works. It is slick. I will give it that. I'm having to put quite a bit of alum on my hands to make sure that the straight razor doesn't go away. But let's see. Those of you that watched the straight shave yesterday, will note that I mentioned Frennch as kind of my inspiration for straight shaving. And I had used his method in my early straight shaving. Looks like I cut myself in my early straight shaving. But I'd gotten away from certain parts of it, like on my neck. So today I'm trying to mirror that again. Because I think a lot of it was because of my hair growth. And just ease for me. We're trying more of the cross-handed technique. On all passes. Well, the soap is slick. I will give it that. This method's not bad. I did get a little bit of razor chatter right there, and I think that could have been part of it. But this was an old... There's a mole there, and I think this was an old... The residual slickness is not bad. The one thing I did notice by using it this way, I used less soap, and I'm noticing less irritation on my face. So for a soap like this, it may be okay, but it's not the feel that I like for a soap, but we'll see. Let's drop. Okay, so the soap's been drying. Let's see what it does now. very thin. And to me, it's almost as if you almost have to build each time. And like I said, after using this, I would definitely say it's slick, but I don't think personally that this would work on a lower level tier soap. Probably not a method I would use that often. However, that being said, if I have a soap that's irritating me that I need to get the slickness, but at the same time I need to get rid of the irritation, it might work. I mean, like I said, it's not terrible, but in my opinion, far from the methods that most of us use for face lathering. I don't think this would work bowl lathering, but we'll see. Okay, we'll do pass 2. Then I try the Fool's Pass just that once, just to see. Irritation is still down. Slickness is going away a little bit. I don't think I get the level of glide that I do when I soap up a different way. This might be also good if you're just using a straight razor, a DE. And what's odd about this is usually with a straight razor, you want thin lather, but there's something about the consistency of the lather. As I said, not terrible, but almost right on the verge of being broken. With this soap anyways. And there are so many factors involved, including the soap and everything else. Now, I'll probably do a little bit more testing with this just to see. I'm going to try it with a real low-end soap to see what it does. And then I'm going to try it with probably a high-end soap. And I would assume that that's probably going to work pretty good. If you're a soap saver, I will concur with KJ. It's good. And as he said, if you like pretty lather, probably not. I could really care less about pretty lather as long as it's functional. And just so happens that the soaps I choose and the soaps that I use all produce incredible lather with very little usage. I do have quite a bit of the bloom water left over, so it's not terrible there. I don't know. Jury's still out. Is it something I would incorporate into my daily routine? Probably not, because you got to clean the cap, you got to do this, you got to do that. So probably not. But if you're down to your last soap, which that'll never happen with me, and you're on a desert island, you need to shave. Then maybe. Now I am feeling the cinnamon just a little bit now. But that's the one plus I will say for this, is I'm not feeling it like I normally would. And it is slick, you know. Okay. Not bad. Residual slickness goes away pretty quick, but I am feeling the irritation from the cinnamon a little bit more. A little bit of cleanup. And for cleanup, I think this would be a perfect, you know, because it's very slick. And I did notice that since I changed my angle, going back to Schmensch's original cross all the way down the neck, again, jury's still out, because I felt that I probably had to do just a tad more cleanup. But not bad. Not bad at all. The lathering. Now there is quite a bit of soap left over, but it's very wet. very wet. So maybe I added a little bit too much water, but there's plenty of bloom water still left. So are you saving that much, or are you just extracting a lot of the essential oils and fragrance? That would be my only concern, is by soaking the puck the way you are and getting that bloom water. Number one, are you leaching out some of the mineral or some of the fragrance in the lather? And by leaching out that fragrance, are you ending up with having something that's going to lose fragrance over time? That is something that I would be concerned with, because obviously as you put water or any type of liquid, well, you're creating an emulsion, and that emulsion is leaching out whatever oils and stuff is in the soap. So that would be a concern as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the Prix de Provence aftershave balm. And then normally I'm not a balm guy, but with this soap, because of the properties, because there's two things that irritate my skin fairly. This one is not as bad. Cinnamon's not as terrible because of the pear tart, but rose, a true tuberose, a rose scent. Those of you that remember the rose scent we had for the Sue thing years back, that thing lit me up something fierce. All right, we'll do a little bit of talc. And then we'll finish up with some EDT. Now this is a warmer, obviously a warmer scent that I would normally use in the summer, but it's actually pretty cool today, so it's not too bad. Okay, well, I wouldn't say experiment failed, but I wouldn't exactly say it's a winner. I think under certain circumstances it might be with certain soaps, but now that I think about it, my biggest concern, like I said, is leaching out the fragrance, the oils, and stuff like that, as far as that goes. And then, of course, I don't need to save soap, so... Well, because I can imagine if you tried this with Prix de Provence, or if you tried it with L'Occitane, you'd have that same puck for 100,000 years. So for somebody who is a soap minimalist that uses one soap, or somebody who's 317ing one soap forever, it might be okay. But we'll try some more experimentation, and I appreciate KJ for reminding me that sometimes it's better just to try stuff rather than, dismiss it completely right out of the gate. But so far, on a scale of 1 to 5, I would say this is probably a 2 or 2.5 so far. And that doesn't mean it'll end, but that's it. Guys, have a blessed Sunday, and we'll see you on the cadre. Good day now.